right, we're going to stand to the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, this is the part of the meeting that if you're not on the agenda, if you got something you want to bring up, that you can bring it up. We can't act on it, but we will take it under advisement, and then we would talk about it at our next meeting or whatever. So is there anybody that's not on the agenda that's got anything they want to talk about? All right. Well, this is the portion of the meeting then that on the agenda here. We've got a BZA.
I think that's a misnomer. It's a plan commission.
Actually, it is. It's not BZA. It is. It's the Scott County Area Plan Board. We have a zoning request change, and I'm going to turn it over to our attorney here because this technically is a public hearing, and there's some protocols that we have to follow because it is.
So I know that everyone's received a public sign-in sheet. Just understand that this is, at this point, a kind of a quasi-judicial proceeding in front of the Board of Commissioners. Everyone who signed up, and at some point later I'll ask if there's anybody else who wants to speak for and against that has not signed up, but you will get an opportunity. So just be patient, and also try and respect everybody else's time, not 15 to 20 minutes per person. But to start it off, we're just going to call the case number RZ0624 with applicant Brianna Osborne Parrish, and that is a request for a change in zoning from A agricultural to R1 single family residential. The parcel number is identified as 72-09-07-400-033.00007. So if the applicant would like to present the requested change, again, everyone will have their opportunity. Please let them present, and then
we have some copies for you all. What we're statement we'd like to read, please.
Okay, they're all stuck in together.
That's fine. Thank you.
Do you need one as well?
oh yeah, sure. Thank you.
Floor is yours.
To whom it may concern, my wife Brianna and I would like to formally and respectfully withdraw our application to change the zoning of our property located at 305 West Craig Road from agricultural to R1. The meeting held by the Advisory Plan Commission was an eye-opening experience for the both of us. Both having residential real estate backgrounds, we have always been under the impression that growth and development went hand in hand. However, the past month we have realized that is not the case. Our neighbors and the community present at the meeting on 3/13/2024 raised both valid and albeit lucrative points that led us to dig just a little bit deeper into what we own. Yes, we have amazing access to public utilities, and we have even more amazing access to amenities and linkages, but home buyers are not the only market looking for such resources. Digging in, we learned that it isn't just a fluke that the Smith family has a bicentennial farm. Geographically, it makes perfect sense. And while Brianna and I don't have an interest in being a crop or cattle farmer, or even a hog farmer, as it was thoughtfully suggested by our local elected official, Diane Mullins, we have discovered after working with Whitetail Properties Real Estate the many benefits behind poultry farming and the vast market opportunities it will open us up to. Our research has led us in a direction to questioning the highest and best use of the property. Initially, we thought R1. However, offers from potential out-of-state buyers have proven that our price per acre is greater for use as agriculture, and therefore we do not wish to proceed with our request. We greatly appreciate all of the time, consideration, and even a little bit of aggravation throughout this process. Brianna and I believe that this is not just the best decision for us, but for our community. We decided that we don't want to play a part in causing a food shortage. We want to help put Scott County on the map. Unfortunately, we are not permitted to go into further detail at this time. However, with the right connections and marketing, as well as the support and creativity of our partners, we have no doubts that Smith Ridge Poultry Farms has the potential to be a household name right alongside Tyson and Purdue. We're not only Vienna proud, we want to make Vienna proud. Respectfully, Keith R. Parrish Jr. and Brianna Osborne Parrish. Lastly, at the request of our attorney, John Kraft, we would like to confirm that our current withdrawal will not prohibit a potential reapplication by us or our partners in the future should the opportunity present itself. That's all we have at this time.
So for the purposes of the request, we'll just show that the request is voluntarily withdrawn. As to reapplication, you may certainly submit an application again at a future date, but you would have to go back from step one, which would be in front of the Area Plan Commission again. And then depending upon what happened there, it would ultimately come to this board at a later date. Okay, so if you are withdrawing it at this point, that's up to you. And then whatever you decide to do in the future, that's something that would be considered by those boards at that time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too.
Understanding that we had seemingly a lot of people here who were signing up for public comment as to the question that was in front of the Board of Commissioners, just understand that the application has been withdrawn and that no one is, the Board of Commissioners is not gonna take action on anything further relative to that request. So, understanding that is. You're always trying to leave, I'm not gonna hold you.
I do want to say something. I just want to thank the commissioners for listening to all of the citizens, and I know you guys have received phone calls. I didn't personally, but I want to thank you for listening to your citizens of Scott County.
Okay, thank you. That was
To the
sweet.
chair.
So I guess at this moment, if someone doesn't want to stay to watch the rest of our meeting, we'll give you a few minutes and you can exit if you want.
Can I ask a question real quick? Though?
Yeah,
In the process of all this, our road has become very, messed up. And I was wondering, who's gonna fix this?
well, it's a county road, so the county will fix whatever damage or any kind of breakage of an old road or whatever, so,
Kevin and I talked about it the other night, he knows it.
Yeah, because that's right on a curve where you turn off of Prague onto Burnham.
well, actually,
Kids
that's,
ride their bikes, that's not, no,
That's-
but that other one is. And there's a pretty deep ditch on that, you know? If a kid rides their bike on that, they're gonna get hurt.
Yeah, we understand that there's some repairs that need to be made out there, and we'll get those addressed.
Okay.
We'll work those in and get them out there.
okay,
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
all right, thank you.
Excuse me, can I speak too? He's gravel all down through there, and, that ditch needs to have drainage to put through it. And, he told the county garage that, he was just temporarily doing this until he gets things done, whatever he was doing. But, the way it stands right now, there's still no tube there, and he's filled the ditch in. I mean,
So
probably
that's,
40, 50 feet.
that's a drainage board question though,
So it's actually, Kevin, you wanna address that?
So I did look at the drive, and there's no water impeding the road or doing any damage. He does need a drainage tube in there. I did tell him after construction, we would need to get one in there because the adjacent neighbor has one in, so it would stop
Yeah.
that. But that's not really uncommon. We've allowed that before to let concrete trucks in and out, and then they dig it back out and put the culvert in.
as long as it gets done, cause like I say, we have poor drainage up there the way it is anyway.
I agree.
Okay. Anybody else have a comment? Dan?
I'd like to thank the board and thank everybody here for showing up. Numbers do help, and I think it shows an interest anyway. I hope it does. And yes, I could put in a chicken farm or a hog farm. I can't stop him building, but I can stop him selling. Would you want to build, take a $200,000 or $300,000 house and have a whole farm like that? Anyway, thanks a lot.
All right. So does anybody wanna exit at this time, or you wanna stick around for the rest of this meeting?
One additional comment,
that?
Vince, how you're taking a few comments, one additional comment regarding safety. If there is somebody here from the county highway garage that would be interested in going out and making sure that the road sign, the stop sign, the street sign gets put back up, so that people don't think that coming off the T road that they no longer have to stop. There are safety issues there, as well as, one of his points when he first started, his process was the new fiber optic lines that we had and the new utility services we had, and him coming out and defacing, putting no trespassing signs on public property. That's a safety issue for linemen, so those kind of things, but I do hope somebody in the county takes an interest in restoring Craig Road to what it was prior to 2 months ago. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. You guys can stay. What are you talking
You all right? John, where you going? You might as well stay.
You wanna come get that Narcan what we had last time, I guess she gave us a couple cases, but you know, it still expired in January.
I got one in my purse.
Well, I carried one in all my cars.
I'm gonna cheat sheet. Here are the actual
You can thank us.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
All right, now that we're back in order here, we're, next on the agenda is the health board. So Brittany's already sitting here, and I believe the only thing you got is a bid for cleaning at the highway, or at the health department.
Yes.
So these are the bids. And I guess will, let me read off as this looks, as you said.
I was gonna say, that's a little confusing, so I made a cheat sheet.
Yeah, you did very well. All right, looks like, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different companies that has bid this. And since it is under our threshold of needing seal bids,
I'm just good for this.
you're fine.
Actually,
we
you
can't
can't
shut it. No, it's a public hearing, we have to always leave the door open.
I can ask you.
But anyway, the first one here is Brent Canepa, and I guess we have 2 offices. There's a Scottsburg office and an Austin office, so there's gonna be 2 different numbers here and then a final bid quote. Brent Canepa has Scottsburg office at $580 and the Austin office at $313 for a total of $893. Second one is Organized Office LLC. Looks like Alex Wagner, or Alexis Wagner, sorry. Scottsburg office is $600. The Austin office is $400 for a total bid of $1,000. William Best, $600 for the Austin office, $300 for the Austin, Scottsburg office 6, Austin 3, for a $900 bid. Is it Effie Ashby? 900 for the Scottsburg, 500 for the Austin, for a $1,400 bid. Denise Garrett, Scottsburg office 570, Austin 300, for a total of 870. And KB Cleaning, Kelly Ritchie, $1,000 for the Scottsburg, $700 for the Austin, for a total bid of $1,700. So, I'm sure, because I saw some of the bids, there was a scope of work put out where what you expected from everybody, so all the bids are of equal. I don't know if you want to see any of the bids. You've got the same sheet I've got. Looks like,
Just, they're not, and I realize this is just kind of nitpicking, but we're just quoting, because we're far below the.
oh yeah, that's what I was probably saying earlier, that, you know, we don't have to have sealed bids or anything like that, because it's under the 50,000, and quite honestly.
It's under 150, which is even the sealed bid versus quote threshold. It's under 50, which means technically, as a services contract especially, you would not need to even seek quotes, but I think it's always been a practice to try and seek the lowest responsible and responsive operator, so.
Well, I'm gonna make a suggestion though, whether it's right or wrong, and you guys can say yay or nay, or have your own opinion, but we currently use a company or a person here in the courthouse already, so I mean, it looks like their bid is $23 more a month than the other bid, and I don't know if that would play into, somebody's quote of thinking one company over another one for $23, so, and I know it's not the lowest bid, but.
Again, in the bidding process, the legal requirement would be to take the lowest responsible and responsive offer order. We're under a separate code section that deals with services contracts, but under the public purchasing ordinance, at this purchasing threshold, my belief would be that you can purchase for the services and whichever service you feel provides the best service for the dollar amount. There's a number of reasons why you might choose one service provider over a different service provider. I mean, we're not purchasing equipment, so it's not like you can necessarily compare one to another. Sometimes one service provider costs more because they might do a more thorough job. You know, that's not for me to decide, but I would say that is up to your all's discretion, with the understanding that, again, I think there is a kind of a public policy rationale for choosing the lowest in general.
I think I'm going to, I think I'm gonna kinda echo what Mike has to say on this too, because, even though they're just $23 higher than the lowest bid, and they're, you know, they are in this office, I'm sorry, they are in this courthouse all the time. They do a very good job, and you know, I don't know any of these other people, but I do know that Canepa's, you know, we have not had a problem with them being around sensitive materials.
Good. I've had several people say that they do a good job, so
Yeah.
that's good.
And not to say anybody else would have a problem with the sensitive materials either. It's just,
Right.
we have experience with them and we know.
What comments, Greg?
No, I mean, you know, our current cleaning group here does a fantastic job. So, yeah, I mean, it's close, but, I guess, to be fair, I mean, I would support the low bid.
Okay. Yeah. So I will entertain a motion one way or the other.
I'll make a motion for Brent Canepa.
There's Randy's made a motion to accept, excuse me, Brent Canepa's cleaning bid for the rest of 2024 for $893. Do I hear a second? Well, since I brought it up, I'll second that, so. So I'll entertain I guess a vote since it's 2-1, so, Craig, or Randy, how do you vote?
How do I vote?
Yes.
Brent Canepa.
Greg?
Vote for the low bid, Garrett.
Okay. And I'm gonna also vote for Brent Canepa, so I'm gonna stay with the cleaning company we use, so.
All right,
All right, is
Thank
that all
you.
you got?
that's all I got. Thank you guys
Thank
very
you.
much.
Kevin, I don't know how you got it so quick.
Could've went the other way.
Yeah. It was touch and go with it, I mean, it wasn't.
You get done virtual calling.
Yeah.
You could've been here at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, could've been, I was
Could
ready
have
for
been
it.
on
You did that,
WHS.
you walked in early, so.
Yeah. Could you pull that up, Dan, if you please?
Yes, sir.
I just wanna show you guys our,
No, I can't, because actually if
Oh, I'm sorry.
you're logged in and I need to,
can you pull it down, the whole screen?
well, it's his computer that's up there,
Just
not,
have to log
it's
in.
not the,
God, great. That's all I got.
She's got the keyboard, that's why I was like, what are you doing?
thank you.
This is just showing our, small structures, so we have 50% of the county done right now.
Can you explain
Get
small
that.
structures for?
So
people
small
that don't
structures
know?
is anything under 20 feet.
You're talking about culverts.
Yeah, well, not really, like what we fixed on Bethlehem Road, that's a small structure. And so 19 foot can be a small structure, 20 foot be a bridge, so it's
Okay.
anything over a small structure that are federally regulated to have inspected by a qualified firm. Anything smaller than that, it's all up to the local. We're not required to know what's there. So that's what we've been working on, trying to figure out what's there
That's the difference between bridge inspection and what can.
and what we're working on.
Okay.
So, like I said, we got approximately 50% of the county done from 19 foot to 4 foot. Eventually, we'll have everything on there, but that'll be a work in process. So right now, on the 50%, we got 11 that's severe deterioration, 11 that's heavy deterioration, 22 that's moderate, 36 that's minor, and 20 that's minimal. And then one that's perfect, I guess. You can flip over to that next one. So this kind of shows you, Mike, this is considered a small structure, so just for the purpose of presentation, I've sent this to Andrew yesterday, like, hey, what do you think? And well, we figured that's the kind of money a structure like that would run, for us to replace.
So clarify something, you used to talk about where they used to take what, like train boxes or?
There's I think Switchland County has a lot of the train boxes and train decks. And there's one, train car not far from Jennifer, over the hill, that's a railroad car, big culvert. That's the only one I know of in the county. I'm not sure if there's another one or
I just
not.
didn't know, I mean, cause I've always hear that terminology and I'm always asking, what are they?
I'm not real familiar with them. I've not seen them, but I know they're around southern Indiana,
Okay,
for sure.
but you know of one here.
One that we do have,
Okay.
yeah. So, that, you can flip to the next And this, it's just like our bridge inspection, it just gives us an assessment of the structure.
To you or to them?
And this is going down to, this is an example, this is going down to, just a simple structure that we got, so, you know, it's a $20,000 structure. Flip to the next one. So, you know, this is,
Can you go back to that
yeah,
slide real quick?
Make this difficult, don't you?
uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't have a mouse, so it makes it a little difficult. I think maybe if our IT people would help us out, but. You did such a great job. I didn't even know you were sitting there. All right, was it this one that you wanted to?
So probably to Kevin's point, I mean, you know, we have a lot of, there's probably significant pipes that we have throughout the county that has, some issues with the bottom rusting out and deteriorating, which, you know, I think probably where you're going with this, you know, you start adding up a lot of those and you start getting into some money, so.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that. So, I mean, this goes back to what we've been talking about the whole time. We're just looking at everything that we got to fix and how we can utilize our money the best and stretch it out the best that we know of. So with 50% of the small structures being done from 4 foot to 20 foot, those 11 structures we estimated $650,000. Now granted, they went from what I showed you on the first one down to just a basic, 36-inch culvert with a head wall. The recommendations on them to have them replaced by 28. Now, we would do that by maybe a little different on what roads we're working on. With my budget right now, historically, on small structures, each district has 20,000 plus another 10,000 culvert lines. This is how it's set up when I came, and that's how we've left it. So that's $70,000 that we have a budget to replace small structures. So you can kind of see when I say we got to stretch money somewhere else, that's the reason why. I'm not sure how you fix them all if you don't stretch your money somewhere else.
so with, when you're talking about the money, with the community crossing grant, are these small structures available for us to apply for a grant for those?
So this year in 2024, -1 call, we had, let's see, we got $1,394,000 is what we was awarded. We're replacing 5 structures this year in 2024.
But they were included in the grant?
Yes, they are CCMG grant structures.
Okay.
They're a little over $1 million. That's what they'll be, those 5 structures, 2 on Main Street, Bloomington Trail, Bridgewater. Now you got them in front of me. I'm gonna blank on the next one.
You've identified the 5.
We've identified them, and actually 2 of those are on kind of on the hot list right here, that I've seen so far.
But in the future, we can apply for the grant instead of, I know we always go to the paving side of it.
Mm-hmm.
We can also reach out and do these small structures as well.
Yes, and that's what we've done this year.
Okay.
Right, yeah, that's what, historically, which was needed. I mean, I don't think there's any pavement that's done that wasn't needed. I think nobody can argue that. We're just looking at, I was always taught that you put the foundation on before you put the roof on. So we're just kind of looking at changing what we need to do, on those things. So kind of see where we're at.
Can't fix roads and then cut them up.
You're always a dog if you do that, You always are. I did want to address one thing, from last night. So.
Let's don't go there.
Well, it's an easy one, it ain't far. So.
Go there.
The state bumped our CCMG up in January to 1.5 million. Just kind of out of nowhere, if you qualified. So if you had, no outstanding contracts and you was closed out, you could qualify. Scott County did. So we jumped in and we applied. So some preservation work, 20 miles. In return, that pumped a lot more work to my crews. Because now you got 20 miles of road that now you're gonna have 40 structures that you need to get replaced before we get here. All the ditching done, all the clipping done. So one of my councilmen took a pretty good stab at my crew. They was watching, and I just kind of want to make it out,
I was.
my crews, it's my job to manage them and put them where they make the most sense. And they make the most sense putting our structures in at this time. Our building was totally funded by scrap metal and broke down equipment. And we're gonna stretch that out as far as we can because we need it. Now we're using salt, which is corrosive. So we gotta change our techniques there. We gotta take better care of equipment or we won't have none. We've been fortunate enough to squeeze, and we're gonna have a wash bay, and we're gonna have a 60 by 50 area to put our cinders, salt mix in. Never had that. Before you went out there and it was froze up like a refrigerator. Put it in the truck, it broke the belts. So we're improving. I just wanted to get that out there, so.
I heard that, and
It's our goal to build, highway can be very negative, and they just kinda are. And, we've been fortunate enough to build a pretty good rapport there, and, those kind of comments don't help the situation, so I just want to throw it out.
You're exactly right. You do a good job with what we give you, and quite honestly, we don't give you enough.
Well, you go above and beyond.
So on that note, I got something I want to say. And this is about the council. And I guess it's to you. When it comes to the county highway department, and the way the council has been to the county highway department, as a Republican, I am embarrassed. Because part of being a Republican is building infrastructure. As a citizen, I'm extremely upset because for the first time in Scott County history, I believe, we've got the money, other than the, hospital, which was way before us, and we don't have any say so, but under this ARPA fund, we have the potential to buy the equipment to take care of our roads that Scott County needs. They will not cost our citizens anything. And because of a few people who has personal vendettas that is on the council, they're holding back progress, and they're taking away from the citizens of Scott County. So as a citizen, I'm extremely upset. As a commissioner, I'm appalled that someone who was trusted enough to be elected would use their position to settle personal vendettas instead of working for the people that voted them in office. So with that said, Kevin, I don't know what else to say, except for I hope the people of Scott County watch the the council meetings and see the obvious traits that a few of them are going down, the road, the path they're going. And I hope that not everybody in Scott County thinks all Republicans are that way. So,
Well, I got a last thing.
there you go.
Okay.
I wasn't going to, and I typed a message today, and this has always been my history when I worked 20-some years as an operations manager with UPS, and there's a lot of times I typed emails when I was very upset, and I never sent them. I'd type them, and then I'd get up and walk away, and I'd come back and look at it, and I'd usually delete it, but, cause it probably wasn't, the right thing to be sent. It's probably the right thing to be sent, politically correct, it wasn't. I typed a message this morning after watching the council meeting last night, and I can echo some of the things Randy said. I wasn't very happy with how the meeting went, especially with you. there's a lot of questioning from the council towards department heads that I think is unnecessary for the fact that, the Board of Commissioners or the executive board of this county, we purchase things, we sign contracts, we go in and we enter into agreements with people, whether that's an interlocal agreement with another county or another municipality. It is our job to do that. And this has been my pet peeve since I've been a commissioner. And we, as commissioners, go to other conventions where the commissioners are talking. And this is statewide, it's not just with our council. But I think our council, and not just ours, but every council in the state is overstepping their role as a councilman. I had this argument with a guy on Facebook last week when the thing came up at the sheriff. He's wanting me to know, you know, why didn't you know where the money was between 22, 23, and 23 and 24? And I kept telling him 5 ways a Sunday that I don't do the budgets. The council does the budgets. The commissioners are the, you know, don't get involved in that part of the county business. They are the fiduciary part of the county government. So I was really upset last night when they were in the weeds on chip seal equipment and whether how we were gonna work it out with Jefferson County over when we were gonna use the equipment, when they were gonna use the equipment. And again, as an old liberal attorney, sitting beside me one time said, it's not their job to tell that type of thing. And again, with the purchasing thing, this is where I usually blow a gasket at home, is that the Board of Commissioners is the sole person that is in charge of the ARPA money. And it has to go to, because the federal government, when they sent it, said it, you know, each state has a different way of they distribute their money. State of Indiana, everything goes through the council for appropriations. So the federal government said, each state just do what you normally do during appropriations. So there's not another step once this Board of Commissioners takes a bid, opens a bid in this room, votes on which bid we're gonna take, and then when it goes to the council, there's not another process of an amendment or something else that they have an opportunity to do. It's a yes or no vote, and that actually, and this is my belief, I could be proven wrong, but my belief is on the ARPA money especially, because it's not coming out of the general fund, it's not coming out of any other taxpayer-based funding, it's actually a pass-through. And they don't like that whatsoever, that we're making decisions. We've not made any, I mean, I can go back on everything that we've ever bought, spent ARPA money on, opioid money on, and I would challenge anybody to say, show us where we spend money stupidly. And I don't believe we ever have. And I mean, and quite honestly, the deal with the MOU, and if anybody's watching this, I want you to understand, the equipment to buy chip seal equipment, if Scott County buys it alone, is about $700,000.
$775.
$775 all in. The deal we're making, or trying to make an agreement with Jefferson County, we would be in at $350,000, $400,000 for the same equipment. They're using it for 3 months out of the year. We're using it for 3 months out of the year. And as in the chip and seal and the paving business, it sets the rest of the year. So if I'm not a great mathematician, but if I'm spending 7 versus 3, I think I'd rather spend, or 4, I'd rather spend 4 than 7. Because there's probably a lot more needs in this county that we can use the other 300,000 on, so.
And it's the return on the investment too, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, that was.
It's 19 miles.
Yeah.
Is what
And
the
so,
difference between HMA and
you know, I
chip seal.
want to just point out, also. I mean, years ago, commissioners were also called road commissioners. Now, do we know everything? No. But and I don't know everything, but I've got a pretty damn good background in, transportation. And so does Kevin. And so, he understands, when he's working through with NDOT and, trying to figure out, and the, community crossing grants and those kind of things, they've become more flexible, okay? And so, we're adding things. We purchased some software, now we're able to forecast these needs and put a dollar amount on those things. We know we have to get into preservation. We just can't pave. I wanna pave every road.
Yeah,
but
if
we
money
can't.
wasn't an object, it'd be the best thing ever.
We
It
just,
just wouldn't be.
we
Well,
don't.
but some of them aren't. I mean, they got mud running through them, so
And it's not
they
only,
need to have the base put there and.
Plymouth Road that we done, it didn't need chips in it. It needed what we done to it.
Yeah.
It was too far gone,
sometimes sometimes you're past that.
in reality. Could've been, but now,
But there's a treatment for everything,
there's a
right?
treatment for it. There's a lot of tools in the bag. Chips just one, pavement's one, thin lift's one.
Yeah.
It's just,
But when I first came here, first was elected as commissioner, there were a couple roads that I was getting a lot of complaints on from people saying, hey, it's got so many potholes in it, blah, blah, blah. I'm honest, I'd actually considered just turning back to rock, cause
right.
if some of these aren't, highly traveled roads, we're wasting our time, especially some that are, get flooded a lot, cause you got water on the roadway and that busts the road up, but chip seal on some of these secondary roads or lightly traveled roads would probably be the best thing for them versus potholes and everything else.
I think my last argument on it, I guess if there was one, that, just tends to amaze me. I personally worked on as a laborer and all the way up to a foreman, US 50, US 421, US 31, State Road 56, State Road 39, 250, all chip seal. Those roads are good enough for chip seal, but Scott County roads aren't. I find that amazing. I honestly can't get over it.
So far, the only road that we haven't touched is 65.
That's it.
Or interstate, 265.
And they have shoulders,
whatever.
correct? They've done shoulders.
At times, spot repairs.
Yeah.
For chip seal.
So,
But
I just find a US highway is suitable
I mean,
that
for
only,
frog ponding.
but that only proves my point. That it's not a matter of whether or not chip seal is the right thing to do. Anybody can understand chip seal is the right thing to do, especially with our budget. It's a matter of it's a personal vendetta from 4 people on that council against the county highway department. And when they pull this stuff, I don't care what their opinion is, it's hurting the Scott County system.
so that's right. And the other thing, here we are trying to find out ways to save money, to pass these savings on that we know is a benefit, not only to our infrastructure, but to our taxpayers as a whole. Jefferson County in this case, they understand that too. I mean, they're looking at trying to save money and getting the biggest bang for their buck. Rural counties such as ours and Jefferson and some,
Switzerland's a big county.
that's right, we all struggle, in some ways or another. And so, transport equipment back and forth to neighboring counties is not an issue in my opinion. I mean,
Well, and they're
It's
willing
not
to work, and I think and quite honestly, it brought a light to me that I think we could probably do that, with other items or other.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as management of, scheduling the jobs and getting it done. It's nothing that I'm not experienced in.
you've done it a million times.
With a whole lot more people.
Well,
50 plus people.
And I'm gonna clarify something, cause I know it got brought up last night when somebody asked you, do you have enough people to do that? And I know I could see it in your face, and knowing you two both used to work for the state, when the state chip sealed, everybody came to where the chip seal was from other areas
Yeah.
to help them chip seal. You know, and people doesn't realize when we have a paver, and when we pave, all of our crew paves all the road.
Everybody-
It's not that, you know, we gotta work overtime or do something
I
else.
think a great instance of that would be yesterday. My crew put a little over 1,000 ton down, which is, for single axle trucks, we managed to get the asphalt close. That obviously helped. But for, for running single axle trucks, 1,000 ton day for us, it's a very good day. So argue with me, you can't chip seal. Well, I got 15 different ways. I can either stage the rock where I'm at, I can stage it at our shop. I got tons of different ways to make that, to manage that. So, I mean, when you look at me, have no idea what you're talking about. Just as simple as that.
Yeah,
So-
well, the thing about it is, and where I was gonna reiterate that was that we do that every day. And other people do the same thing that we're going to plan on doing. And just talking with the Jefferson County people, some of the comments, we haven't worked it out, but some of the comments is, they're bringing people, when the machine comes here and we're using it, they're gonna bring people with them. Same thing with us, we're taking people and helping them, so, and they do 40 miles of road a year chip sealing.
Sure.
So, I mean, they do it in 2 months.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I thank you
Yeah,
for
I wanted-
staying.
yeah, I
And,
appreciate it.
Thank you, Ken.
Jeremy, thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Yep,
See you, Bob.
enjoy your.
All right, guys, last meeting I was here, you guys gave Mike permission to, sign a contract for the phones. They slipped something in on us and didn't tell us about it, but it's didn't let me know, evidently, the prior, director knew. I didn't know, they didn't tell me anything about it, but there was a additional service contract for the next 4 years. So we didn't, again, that was another thing to sign. So, I also made the council aware of it. They knew, but they ended up telling me they knew after I told them, but I told them yesterday that, hey, I've got this other 21,000 that's gonna be coming out for the next 4 years after we do this expenditure. And, it does come out of my,
So you have the money?
yeah, it comes out of my 911 fund.
21,000 a year?
A year.
Okay.
For a service contract for the phones. The 911 lines, the regular lines, all that are tied into the computers.
So the other billing was for the new equipment?
The new equipment, the new software, the
And
installation,
then the yearly agreement's 21,000?
so.
And that's, what was it now?
I'm not paying anything now. It runs out after 4 years. Or, well,
Oh,
the
I
fifth
see.
year.
So we've ran out of a contract for a long time.
Yeah, a long time. We've been out from underneath the service agreement on that for a long time. So if
Okay.
anything technically happens with that, or I need to change something, they should be charging us, I guess, since we don't have that contract for them to manage it. But, so, there's that. I'm just asking for
You seen
permission
that
to.
contract? Can you send him a copy of the contract?
Yeah, I think I still.
I won't be able to look at it currently. Left my computer in Harrison County.
So they know what's down there?
They do, I'm gonna go pick it up.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to find. I've got 12 different email accounts on my
Actually,
phone.
is it the same one you sent me?
It's the one
It's a
you got.
services agreement for less than $50,000, right?
Yeah, it's 21,000 a year.
Per year.
It's mandated that we
Total
go through them
agreement is
anyway.
80,
Yeah,
and it's part and parcel of the phone contract.
correct. This will be easier here.
Two things I see is the DocuSign thing. they keep-
Yep, they're both DocuSigns, yeah.
And you said we were out of contract for a period of time?
Yeah, we're out of that service contract currently. We're not paying a service contract fee. We're just paying for the 911 phone lines.
And you have to have this to,
We're supposed to be under a service contract. And we should be upgrading our software every so often. We're a couple versions behind already, so. Yeah, I can't find, sure that's not coming up on.
Well, the only thing I have here is is where the DocuSign stuff.
Yeah, that's the 2 contracts, they don't have.
But it won't let me get into it without signing the phone.
Jeremy, did you send a contract to me?
No, I didn't get any copies, they went straight
Okay,
to Mike.
Cause I thought if they could, I could maybe email them to Greg, but.
Yeah, they only came via DocuSign, they didn't
Oh, okay,
send,
okay, I see what you're
they
saying.
didn't send hard copies or anything like that,
Okay.
so. I have just I have a quote, essentially, which I can send that to you so you guys can see that. Where I could probably even put it up on the screen.
Hang on a minute, I think I just got it. Hand that down. So what you're asking for is just to verify that we understand that there's a $21,000,
Yeah,
and is that for 4 years?
that's, a year for 4 years. It's included in that 81,000 or 82,000 for the first year for 4 funds.
So the first year, it's already included.
It's already
in that
included in
number.
that cost.
Is it in this thing, it's chapter 11, support and maintenance agreements?
Yes.
Chapter 11?
So. And then also while he's looking at that, I'm aware you guys got the email. My deputy director for 911 has put in his notice and
Saw that.
getting ready to start contemplating what to do there. So
Well, I mean, the deputy is always a position you have the option to fill, so.
yeah, so that's gonna be, I've got some strong candidates inside. I also have some people outside who have made contact. So I'm really looking inside first. That's I wanna try to keep the team together and I still have to bring someone on.
So with
regardless
that,
of what I have to do.
So with that, I mean, as far as manning shifts, I mean, you're still all right?
Yeah, right now I'm still fine. Will has
What was the cost of the underlying equipment?
the equipment and the equipment for the first year, the software, and, hang on, I can pull up that quote.
There's 2 different emails there, Zach. One of them had the $21,000 agreement, and the other one had the 83,000 or 81 or whatever it was.
Just a second here, this is, no, that's not it. This is it. Okay, so here's just the quote.
Do you quote these out in multiple sources?
Can't, we're required to go through.
Required to go through them?
Yes.
Well, then-
The state is contracted, through AT&T and InDigital, and they are given areas.
Okay.
Nah.
So we're in this area.
Yeah, here's what you're doing. Here's your sign.
More discussion.
Yeah, so we're a captive through the state's rules.
Okay.
All right, so all you're doing is coming back telling us that there's an additional $21,000 for each year for 4 years.
Yeah.
And you had the money.
Yeah, have the money, it's not gonna affect anything, so.
So I'll entertain a motion to accept or, extend or add to the original agreement that's 21,000 a year for 4 years for, it's a maintenance agreement.
Yeah, service and maintenance agreement.
So, and I have, they keep sending me emails for DocuSign for me to sign it, so.
I'll make a motion to accept the maintenance agreement.
Sign outside.
Yeah, well, I can do it right now.
Yeah, you could do it right now.
But anyway, Randy's made a motion to accept the 21,000 for 4 years for the maintenance agreement. Greg seconds that, I'll make that unanimous, so.
Thank you, guys.
I'm not gonna sign because the internet's poor here, so I'll wait till I'm outside.
One other thing, again, this week is Telecommunicators Week. I'm cooking out, I know you guys said you wanted to know, tomorrow for the staff, I've got butter out of my own pocket. I'm gonna move my grill down there tonight. But I'm gonna cook hamburgers, chicken, we've got pasta salad, macaroni and cheese, all that for them tomorrow I'm gonna have it ready at noon. and at 6:30, somewhere around there, so.
Okay.
You guys are more than welcome to stop in either times, both times, whatever, so.
Thank you,
Alright,
Jerry.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Good timing.
Andrew, don't shut down. I don't hear that noise again.
I swear. It's just the chair, I swear, it's not me. Can I have the keyboard, please?
Oh, he knows how to use it.
Thank you very much. If you want to pull it up, it's in your email.
I sometimes, for whatever reason, I have a hard time pulling it up. Let's see.
There we go.
That one's about poker night, not that one.
Is this it?
Yep. Alright, so last time we talked about doing
We
the,
talked about this.
yep, the debit card and credit card transactions at the transfer station. So we talked about going with a point of sale system that is stationary in the office. So the Mini is the one that I talked with the sales rep and we kinda agreed on. So that also comes with a optional cash drawer. So instead of having cash just
Shoebox.
laying around or in a bag or something, that will also keep track of all the cash transactions too. Went out the other day, internet's good, everything's ready for that too,
So
so.
you're saying that if a cash transaction happens, they can use that machine and say, I had $11 transaction?
Absolutely, full reporting to Missy every single day, cash, electronic, anything, so.
Good, that's even better.
So I think that's a additional benefit, so.
Well, it's easy to know, is your cash match your receipts, so.
Absolutely. And of course, it can do, the printer's built into it, it can do text receipt, email, or paper too.
So is this the same one we were looking at, or is this the size
This is
up?
stationary.
It's stationary.
It's a size up.
Yeah. The other one was the full mobile, and we kind of was worried about that being dropped possibly numerous times, so.
So they come out and show you Wayne the ins and outs of it?
Full training, everything, so.
Go back to the price again,
Yep.
cause I can't remember.
If you wanna back up that, we'll go back to your email.
Is it that one?
Yep. The price does increase where it is a bigger unit. The mini purchase is $799. The optional cash drawer is $100. So you're looking at right at $900. And that's straight out, that's no subscription, we can keep it there, not, have to do monthly subscription. I think at the bottom, right now, the company has a $450 rebate going on this month.
Hang on a second, this says the essential software plan,
Yep.
$14.95, that is, we still pay that?
Correct.
Okay, that's a monthly fee.
That is a monthly fee.
Okay.
There is 25-cent charge per batching per day. But like they're only open 3 days a week. So, but the promotion is going on this month. So the mini purchase would be $799 and after the rebate would be $348.
What's the cash drawer?
Cash drawer still $100 on top of everything. But the rebate is only applied after 2 full months of processing, so we do have to keep the company active for at least 2 months to get the rebate.
So right now, it's, how much is it?
You're looking at,
Straight out.
say, $900 straight out. Then after 2 months, you're going to get a rebate of $450.
450?
Yep.
Wow.
Then you're looking at, say, $20 a month max.
I think that's a better deal than the other one.
And I did talk to Deandra today. She helped me a lot. We looked over the budget and we feel.
So we think it squeeze it in?
Yeah.
We'll probably be a little bit more efficient, especially if, I always know I take my checkbook when I go out there. but-
Checkbook.
Yeah, you know what those are?
Right.
Wow. Yeah. No, we actually have an equipment line.
Mhm.
for the transfer station, that it would be able to fully fund this.
We
It's
would,
already there.
we would have to go to the council to have a professional services line created for the monthly fee. And that's it.
And there's plenty of flow coming in from a revenue standpoint to cover that $20 a month or $25 a month.
Yeah. Okay.
Then of course too, your shipping is around $8 to $15 too, so throw that on top.
I love it.
There's no contract also, so it's just
We buy it,
we buy it, we
pay a
do it, we
monthly
rock and
fee.
roll, yep. And if we don't wanna do it anymore, we
Stop.
stop.
All right.
I'll make a motion
I'll
to,
entertain a motion to,
you got your motion.
what's the company again?
Clover,
Clover.
they are one of the biggest processors in the nation, they do Amazon, Walmart.
Now, I'm
big
gonna
boys.
ask a question. Because it's hooked to the internet, can he electronically send all that information to the treasurer's office every day?
He can
Or
send it,
can she pull it up?
she can pull it, they can pull it up straight from their office.
Okay, that's,
So if he
That's even
comes
better.
in with the cash, she already has everything pulled up for the day. It's there, then she can go to our bank, balance it out daily.
okay. that's
Check's
easy.
all good.
So she can reach out to it, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Randy makes a motion, to, purchase a Clover, I don't know what you call that thing.
POS.
PO.
Point of sale. It's a point of sale.
Ask me something different if you
Yeah. Credit and
I'm gonna say a
debit
credit
card
card
machine.
machine. But anyway, at the initial cost of $900 with I almost say rounded to $20 a month fee. After 2 months of utilizing it, we're gonna get a $450 rebate, so we need to probably watch how that money comes back and where it goes when it comes back, so.
Yeah, be able to apply back to it.
But Randy makes a motion, Greg? Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. Thank you for all your
Thank you.
input.
No problem at all.
Thanks, Andrew.
I think it would be a good thing.
Yep.
Wonderful.
I think we'll do that out at EMS too.
Nick?
Nick?
That's money straight in. Let's do it. Hello.
Hello.
How's Nick? How's Nick?
I'm all right. How are you, sir?
Pretty good.
I don't have a whole lot but discussion. I didn't interrupt you. Most of this is just discussion.
He was talking about that POS.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like.
It's getting closer. I went to the council last night. Nothing on the building because that's moved to the 9th of May. 14th of
yeah.
May, sorry, so we'll know after that.
You have so I guess there was maybe some confusion at the last meeting. Nick had not provided me at that time any of the documentation relative to whether or not the proposed use fit within the list of opioid remediation uses that had been established by the Attorney General's office. He sent me an explanation of the proposed use after the meeting. So I have drafted a resolution for approving certain funds from the opioid abatement distributions. And though I was skeptical at first, I mean, it does seem to fall squarely within not the, there's like a, Schedule A is, I can't remember the exact term that they use, but it's like preferred uses, but approved uses are in Schedule B. It falls within two separate approved use categories that are in K2 and J3 of Exhibit B. And I've attached Nick's explanation as Exhibit A to the resolution, but it basically explains why certain investments in infrastructure at government facilities or at not-for-profit facilities that would assist in preventing opioid use disorder or treating or recovery, any of those things, why investments in infrastructure would qualify. So it's all in here, but if it is something that, and I put in there just based on what Nick put was to approve the use of $51,000 for investment in infrastructure to house ambulances that respond within the county to provide care to patients and provide connections to recovery and treatment services for individuals suffering from OUD and other related disorders. So if that's still the number, I'm not sure what the.
I think that's close.
Okay.
It was 50 and some
It's
change.
like 50,892 or something with
I
everything
think we
being the
did like an
lowest.
amount not to exceed for the
Correct.
appropriation request, so I would just ask that if you did want to approve that, that you go ahead and do that as a full resolution tonight. I don't know what the number we're at.
Do you have a resolution number?
Give me a second, I don't know.
I didn't remember what fund or anything it was out of last night, so
It was actually out of
It
restricted,
was out of the restricted category.
restricted, the big one.
I didn't.
I did listen to the meeting with your, during your part, and quite honestly, with the building, you know, I think I heard at least 3 people kinda say, yeah, you have $1 million investment that you're gonna
I
put
think
under a
that's-
$50,000.
But I think the problem is that we're having a lot of damage.
Yeah.
We've replaced a few windshields just from hail and certain things out there, and then the biggest thing is, you know, during the winter months, the windshield freezes, you're sitting there for 10-15 minutes just, you
So
know.
we're rotating ambulances
Yep.
out of service to deal with a situation that can be solved by a roof.
Yeah, that's where
So,
you know, we've all discussed it, and I think the council sounded pretty positive about it, so.
I hope.
and again, I was skeptical, but you know,
Yeah.
I did go back and review
Well, it's a
everything.
good use of the
I
funds.
reviewed our, you know, the recommendations that were sent over by outside counsel relative to the use of opioid funds in the restricted category. Seems to squarely fit within those approved uses.
Sounds good.
It is a much smaller appropriation relative to the total funds that have been distributed, so I think using it, and even though it's not a preferred category, I think using it this way would be up to your all's discretion.
Yeah, that was one question they had last night that I did not remember, so that's on me.
Of where it was coming?
Yeah, I didn't remember
Yeah,
which fund or bank.
Well, we talked about originally ARPA, and then we came back and said, you know what, I think we can stretch it into not stretch it, that's a bad word. Use the restricted, we could have used the unrestricted, but we were trying to use the restricted, and.
Well, and with
There was some-
with the resolutions that were passed, I don't think any appropriations have been approved yet, but from the unrestricted category, if we include, and I don't know that it's on here, but it is. The Austin Parks, interlocal agreement, if you included those amounts, we'd effectively zeroed out the unrestricted category, so, so the only option at that point was restricted, negative, provide documentation and explanation, so.
You wanna move on while we wait on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I also had a conversation with the council last night about, again, it's just conversation, nothing's been dealt on, but about, what we had talked about as far as acquisition of an ambulance for next year. Obviously, my bank account, or the ambulance services bank account is fluid, but as of everything sits right now, it seemed like a majority conversation would be on board with funding another loan. And I feel confident unless, you know, some extenuating circumstances happen, which can always happen, but if things stay on par for, especially what we're projected this year, or even what we did last year, you know, it would be adding about $32,000 to my budget for another loan. So, you know, in the grand totality of things, out of 2.5 million, 32,000 added for my responsibility would, on those schemes, is minimal to add.
So and I know
The only problem is the interest rate right now, but.
The only, I guess, question I have is between remount versus new.
Mhm.
Remount, I think I'm going off memory of a conversation we had, was, 240, 250.
220 to 235 was that
Okay.
range, and we were looking at around 275, 285 per day.
So for $40,000 more, we can get a.
New chassis, new box, new
And then we
everything.
can actually sell the other one.
So
to recoup.
that was the conversation, and, I've done a little critical thinking and conversed with my crews about a few things, and, you know, if we do go the new route, and if you have it, go ahead.
It's number 6.
Go ahead.
I did talk with them, and I talked to one of the vendors that we deal with, just happened to stop in last week. And I said, hey, while you're here, ballpark figure me. He said, don't do trade-in, because you're gonna get $8,000 to $10,000. Don't do that. The one truck that he thought we could get anywhere from 30 to 45,000 out of was that Chevy that we had the fuel pump issue and stuff out of there. He goes, especially if we can keep it around that 100,000 mile mark, we can sell it privately, or they can consign it for us, or there's a couple avenues to do it there. That, you know, we could get 30, 40,000 out of it to make that first payment, or do whatever we needed with it, go back in the auction proceed fund, or whatever we needed to do.
Well, one of the questions, and you got in this mess before, I won't say mess, in this situation before, where redevelopment or someone else bought the ambulance and
then we sell it, and the money has to go back
has
there.
to go back to that account.
Correct.
We're not in that situation. The one that redevelopment bought hasn't been delivered yet, correct?
Correct, and that is one, and that's the whole scheme of things, is so.
And that's where I'm.
2 of the trucks that we have currently that were purchased by, the prior. I'm fine with it. Two out of the 5 trucks we have currently that were purchased prior to me are remounts. So that affects.
So they've already been remounted once.
Correct.
So
they have one more life left in them. And at the same time, you know, while remounts aren't always a bad idea, you know, there are potential issues because you're picking something up and put it back in. But anyways, right, but that's to be expected, and at some point, we as a service are going to have to do a remount here or there. There's no way around it unless we just fall into some money. But what I will say is, initially I was looking at getting rid of one of those Type 3 ambulances, the van chassis, but I think it'd be wiser for us from a cost-effective standpoint of getting more money, and that is the one I was looking at getting rid of the Chevy instead. Because it's the smallest box we have, it's the smallest wheelbase, and we're gonna get significantly more money out of that than if we get rid of one of those. The Type 3's in the back, and one of those has had a motor replacement, so I'm not getting rid of that one. So I think we've got the potential to recoup the difference between the remount and the purchase of one. But again,
we're down the road with redevelopment's one where we have to worry about in the future, giving the money back to redevelopment that.
Correct, and what I was gonna say with that is, that would be a new box, and that would be one that 4 years from now, that we would want to remount, because the box is brand new, it's never been remounted, so we can take that box, put it on a new chassis, we're not selling anything, so we can just continue to reuse that.
We're 4 or 5 more years down the road then.
From that one,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, you're probably 4 years down the road from remounting that.
No, but I mean, once you remount it, the life expectancy.
3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years again, so.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep remounting or purchasing every year like I said before, for the first 4, 5, 6 years, because all of these ambulances were bought at once. And I mean, like I said, we've got 2 that are getting in the mid 100s, and we've got the other ones hanging right around the 1, so we're slowly getting there. I think.
Yeah, I questioned that when it happened, how we're going to get in a rotation again.
Yep, and that's why we have to have these conversations every year, because we have to, like I said, a couple of years ago, we had to start that rotation early, otherwise we're gonna have to hit with 2. And it's worked out. It's just time consuming, and unfortunately, we have to have these conversations every year instead of every other, but we'll get to a point, hopefully, that we're not But, I am gonna go up Friday, talk to a bunch of vendors at FDIC, see what they've got on demo lists, see what they got on build times, get all of that, and then I will report back to you guys next month with your pleasure. I did talk to Russ, who our current loan is through. He said prime right now is at 8% though, and that's what we're gonna
Well, I
be.
guess the question is,
We can look at funding
At the
through
end of
through the vendors themselves too, as well as an option.
but at the end of this year, there, you know, this being a presidential election year, interest rates usually go sky high, so, you know, if we see in the future, I mean, you can refinance that.
Well, and the good thing is too, let's say next meeting, just for instance, we commit to one that's gonna be delivered in April or May, whatever the case might be. We can wait till February of next year to assume that loan because we don't have to pay, where that's a demo, we don't have to pay. Like in the redevelopment one, we had to pay when the building of the ambulance started, so that's why we paid it last year. This one was already slated to be built, so we won't have to pay that till delivery. So if we need to wait on that loan till after the first of the year, that's perfectly fine. I might have to do a $10,000 commitment to something that I can ask for an additional appropriation or something with, for that, but the loan itself would not have to be assumed until
Well, interest rates,
delivery.
I mean, I see them dropping, but it's not gonna be soon.
Yeah, so that won't be a problem. We can wait until, the fight is over and see what happens with that.
All right,
The only other question I have is, that's not on there and that's my fault. So paramedic class, I need to do drug testing for my class, for the clinical sites.
for the health department.
That's why I'm here. Used to, 2 years ago when the other one started, we had the mail service, but now we've switched to where the health department does everything and the hospital does our overnight stuff.
Yeah,
I need to be able to, Brittany's okay with it,
yeah.
as long as you guys are okay with
Yep.
it. Cool.
Yep.
Anything else to okay. I don't mind paying for it, I just need
No,
that.
they can do that.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to pass resolution number twenty
I
twenty-four
should have a drug test.
dash R dash 6, approving certain funds for opioid abatement distribution, for the ambulance service to build a, shelter, pole barns type shelter for housing at least 3 ambulances. What else? Not to exceed $51,000.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes the motion, Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so, what is that? 17, on the 17th day of April.
And you guys will keep that until May, not 14th, right?
Make a motion, go ahead and put it.
I'll lose it
I'm
between now
already
and then.
making my list too. Well, and Heather needs to see it too.
Staffing? Staffing good?
Sure. Full-time, we're fine. We're riding the lull of part-time right now, so. But everything's as good as it can be, but we're dealing with it.
I heard you explain the paramedic car, so. Not that's paramedicine, I should say.
Yep, they appropriated the line item funds last night, so we should be good at the end of the year.
Just to clarify that, we're going to assume a car for whatever the remaining balance of the grant is, so it's actually not it's a win-win for the county. They're picking up a car and not paying for it, so. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Nick.
Zach, I think this is you with the Austin Parks Department.
Yep, so at the last meeting, when there were a number of requests for opioid and ARPA funds, this was the second meeting the Parks Board attended from Austin to request funds for a project. I reached out to, I guess I wasn't clear at the time, or at least in the first meeting, that it was a governmental agency. I think that we needed to do an interlocal. When I realized that, I've reached out to the city attorney. Because it's their project, I felt more comfortable if he would describe what they intend to use the money for, put that into an interlocal. They will submit that back to us, and that will probably be something that we would address at our first meeting in May. So, the other thing is I did want to make sure that it was something that Austin, even though the Parks Board was coming, I want to make sure that the city wanted to accept that essential like responsibility, so.
I have a question about interlocals since I heard it last night. Is there a timeline on interlocal agreements? Cause I heard in the meeting last night that they said interlocals only last for 2 years. Unless they're automatically renewed.
Yes, but you can renew them, you know, as you go, and just to discuss, like, I think you talked earlier about, like, there were questions about, like, where would equipment be, who would be in charge? Those are all things that are required for an interlocal that you're supposed to outline.
Yeah.
Both bodies, must separately approve identical, resolutions. And that way everybody's on the same page. Those are all things that, again, I reached out to the county attorney in Jefferson. I believe that we're trying to work through some of those questions. Obviously, I was not involved in the initial discussion, so I don't know too much relative to what the plan is. So I kind of asked him to get with the Jefferson County Highway Department director so that they could talk with Kevin and everybody could be on the same page.
Yeah. Well, we said we'd have some more meetings to iron out all the fine details, but.
That's correct. But yes, so the
Okay.
answer is generally yes, but you can renew. It's the same reason why we have interlocals that we renew every couple of years for the sheriff's departments, like work crews and things like that. So we do those every 2 years.
Yeah, they had that contract with this,
Yeah.
with the city, so.
So we would do the same
Okay.
thing, basically. And again, if there's another thing that the interlocal would deal with in this specific situation is if at any point both parties or one party did not want to continue, we would have to deal with what happened with the equipment and both parties' interest in that equipment and how would it be, you know, disposed of, yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, these things are very common. I mean, you know, even at the state level, you know, we do interlocal agreements with locals, pretty routinely, on big items such as bridges and roads, right? So, yeah, it's.
Well, I guess the only concern I think, some people had was what happens if we're gone or the commissioners in Jefferson County are gone? You know, does the agreement still go? Do you renegotiate or can somebody say, you know what, we don't wanna do that anymore?
I think all three of those things would be options, but ultimately, we try to, and the statute, I think, makes it a priority to plan for those eventualities, so.
Okay. Well, I don't see where it ever would fall apart, but anyway.
I think we would be able to answer those questions when the terms have been ironed out.
And I guess the question to that is, you know, cause, you know, you talking to their attorney, Kevin talking to that guy, us talking to the other commissioners, we probably need to have some sort of joint meeting
So,
where we just say.
There's also the part of the creation of an interlocal is establishing, you know, again, those are two identical resolutions, but I think, you know, you could do that. You could have, you know, maybe potentially like a joint full session, both parties notice a public meeting. You could also designate, you know, a representative to iron out the fine details before presenting it to the boards independently.
I think if we had a list of wants for our side, and they had a list of wants, I think you and their county attorney could probably just work it out and make sure that, you know. Well, I mean.
Yeah, just take care of Zach.
It's gonna go down, well, what I'm saying is just like exactly what we did at the city with the purchase of City Hall. You know, we were back and forth with this.
It's a little
city-
different than the
City attorney and you.
Well, yes, okay. It is very much like that, but as you recall, we did have like designated representatives
Yeah.
participate in a sit down, to kind of, again, iron out fine details. I don't think I would feel comfortable.
No, I mean, you would be representing us with knowing where we're going and what we've
If
approved.
anything, we can designate Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, you and Kevin,
You can do it.
I don't know, after the last couple of days, he probably isn't the guy to go over there.
Well, the positive side with this, is that, you know, Bobby, their, highway superintendent is, got a lot of experience like Kevin, and, so we've got
Kevin
two
knows,
good knowledgeable sources.
yeah,
for it.
Kevin knows the needs and things that I would never be able to.
Yeah,
Those guys would help drive a lot of
That's,
this, so.
yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think the commissioners are both all in agreement of what the end result wants to be. It's just a matter of logistics and the other parts, so. But anyway, we need to probably move that a little faster. Consideration of the April 8th, 2024 compensation, what is?
That is that was the
Eclipse Day.
Eclipse Day. Again, there was some.
Oh, okay, all right, I understand. All right, I'm going to suggest, and I think we've all kind of had our ears bent backwards. I think we, you know, and this is gonna be, it's not gonna be any additional expense to the county, but I think anybody that was in a position that worked on the Eclipse Day would get a comp day to replace the day that they had. I mean, it's like any holiday, if you're in a position that you're a deputy sheriff or, you know, somebody at 911, somebody at EMS, and your day falls on a holiday, then you get paid the holiday and you get paid. I mean, that's just part of it. So, and I know there was a lot of controversy out there towards the commissioners for waiting till the last minute. I'll take some responsibility for that. We talked about bringing it up in our Wednesday meeting prior to that Monday, and it slipped my mind, and it didn't get brought up. Looking back, I actually thought the judges had shut their courts down. They technically did. They weren't scheduling anything, but technically they weren't closed. They weren't closed, and I misrepresented that. So that was one reason that we did it, and the other one was the hype of what could happen. And a lot of the comments back and forth on our great social media that we all have, people want to easily knee-jerk and make a comment, but we as commissioners have to have this conversation every winter when a snowstorm comes, a tornado comes, about, hey, let's close the courthouse. You know, if we close the courthouse every time somebody's, you know, had something coming on, we would. But with the governor stepping in and putting a state of emergency with his declaration, made it a little easier to do it, but I just want to back up and say, we kind of failed. We should have done on that Wednesday, and we didn't. So, but to pay the people that did work, and I'm sure every department head knows who worked and who didn't. And actually it's gonna fall into probably the sheriff's department, EMS, some others that, came in, but, you know, those people should get a comp day, so. You guys got any comment, questions?
Yeah, I'd like to say that, you know.
But it really was all on Randy, cause Randy just dropped the ball.
Well, I was gonna say that, I don't know if I will now. Well, I was gonna say that was very nicely put, and I appreciate the fact that you took responsibility for that. You guys heard me, so.
Hey, when I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, I appreciate you doing that for me and taking responsibility.
All right. Greg, any comment, questions?
No, I mean, after the governor, you know, put that declaration out, it was the right thing to do. You know, town was crazy. It was actually crazy the day before as well. And, went to Walmart, there was no bread out there. I mean, it was like, what in the world's going on? I mean,
Storm's coming.
So, you know, and then, later on that day, I was even passed by a car that passed another car up in front of me, and they had California tags, and they were like, I mean, people were everywhere. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I
They
seen a
was.
car that had Alaska tags on it out there, so we had folks all over the place, and I know the parking lot at Walmart was just slammed. And of course, the city had their thing out at the Science Park, and it went really well, and they had a lot of folks, and just people just pulling over everywhere, and so, you know, I mean, it's one of those things that don't come around real often, but you know, we were in the path of totality, so you know, I think at the end of the day, the right call was made, and you know, unfortunately, you know, there is some departments that do have to work for whatever situation, and if, like you mentioned, if it was snowing or something, then, you know, a lot of people would have been out, and of course, you know, Kevin, his guys would have been out, so, I mean, it's, but it was just one of those things where we try to keep as many people safe as we can, during that type of event, so.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, people would not understand how many times we get asked, are you gonna close the courthouse? I mean.
A ton.
And it's a ton, but these doors don't close very often, and rightly so, so. But anyway, again, the people did work. I do know that, right in the middle, well, I won't say right in the middle, shortly after the eclipse was over, there was a pretty substantial wreck on 31 in north of Austin, and which diverted traffic. I mean, if you'd have saw Slab Road, 203, Bogartis, I mean, people were bumper to bumper as far as you can see down the road. And they were all trying to get to 3 to get to the new bridge, I mean, or back to 265, but, you know, hats off to Nick and his guys. I saw people staged out at, Kimberlin Creek. I saw the state police setting at every intersection on the highways. A lot of them weren't marked cars or marked trucks, and I've seen some of them down south, so they brought in a crew to be places and to help, so all in all, I think it went all right. You know, probably the biggest gripe was to us three for not shutting it down when it did, and then when we did shut it down, we got grief too, so. But anyway, let's move on. Just if you would or send an email to all the department heads and say whoever did work, it's comp time, so. Consideration of the regular and special claims?
We have none.
Good. Consideration of payroll for April 5th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion to accept the payroll.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes a motion to accept the payroll for April 5th. Craig?
I'll second.
Craig seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. Considerations of the minutes.
We have none of those either.
We will table the minutes till the next meeting. Excuse me.
Consider
Anybody?
doing those when they come back.
Anybody have anything else? Randy, you got something?
No, I've said that.
Craig, you got something? Attorney, Mr. Counselor?
John Robbins was in yesterday with the cemetery board, and he is, I guess, resigning. His health is so bad that he can no longer do the mowing crews that he's done before.
Actually, I was at his house the other day, so yeah. So he's gonna resign. Is that a paid position, or is he just part of the crew?
I will have to check that. Surely he's paid.
I think it's a paid position.
Surely he is a little bit. And I know he has one part-time worker, but I think that guy's only making like $11.78 or something.
You probably know who's on it. I thought there was 2 or 3 guys on that crew.
There's just one guy right now.
Yeah.
He just started last week. So he's been coming in and getting a truck driving mowers, so one guy.
Yeah, they're just down to one, like he said, with that pay scale, he's not having good luck
Well,
finding people, believe it or not.
Can you look that budget up for that board and see how much money's there and see if we can maybe increase that or something, or?
Yep, I'll take a look at that.
Nick, you wanted something?
What if my people don't get comp time?
Didn't they? You were, well.
I don't know, Nick, handle it, you're the boss.
Don't tell them anything about it. Anyway, no, actually, you are probably one of the, you
So we
know,
don't get, we only do PTO, is all we accrue. We don't accrue holiday, we don't accrue comp time, we only accrue PTO.
Even your hourly,
Yeah, they only get PTO.
yeah, cause you went to that.
Kelly,
Kelly
they,
days.
Kelly Day thing. So they get paid on the holidays that they work, but they don't, even I don't accrue comp time, nobody accrues.
But that's a department-specific policy that you guys asked for, right?
The comp time, no, that's been in place since the inception of EMS.
Just the Kelly Days thing.
Kelly Day is, yeah. And but what that did is that just allows them to have a day off without using PTO. It doesn't make them accrue anymore or any less. We've only ever accrued PTO time there.
I have a question. Was it a forced, or did everybody
They got paid.
I know they got paid, but I mean, did they volunteer to
They
come
signed
in?
up, yeah.
So it was, you had a list that said, hey, anybody wants to work?
I guess my question is, so again, like with police, EMS, those services, you already had your schedule built out and the decision to close the courthouse did not affect that, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So if they're exempt, but I just didn't want them to be like, how do we get comp time? Because I don't answer that question. And I'm gonna go, I don't know. So I figured I'd ask you while I was here too.
You want me to just send you off the email and then you won't have to do it?
So I don't know if like, do you give them what they would get in comp time, just add it to their PTO, or do we not do anything, or? Cause they don't have banks for comp time, like even admin doesn't have comp time banks.
Can you guys,
We'll figure this out.
can you ask the questions and see?
Question, I don't actually.
Okay, I mean, that's,
Get with them and
We'll figure it out.
and
I
they
don't
they
think
can.
anybody expected to get anything besides the extra hours that they got, but if they're
so you're
gonna be
just
included-
complicating this for no reason?
No, if they're gonna
Oh.
be included in that group of people, then they're gonna ask those questions, so,
Yeah,
that's all.
Well, that's a good question.
yeah,
We'll find out, I don't
I
know.
thought so too.
that's a good question.
Anybody got anything else? Jennifer?
I think I'm done.
I think I'm done too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm done. I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes a motion to adjourn. Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds that. I'll make that unanimous, so.